we on a mission right now, man. It's I've been putting together my thoughts for this campaign that we about to run. You know, first of all, as I always like to start off, you know, I want to give thanks to everybody that do tap in. Thanks to everybody that lock in. You know, thanks to everybody that's really building with us. You know, our era, you know, and our legacy of our generation is very important to me. You know, the Malcolms, the Martins, the Garveys, you know, the Nobles, you feel me? They all had their opportunity to add to, you know, our society and our culture and our world to push us further to some freedom, justice, and equality as we babies on this path of trying to do something. Like, I'm always looking at the fact that we young and we immature when it comes to, you know, success and wealth and all those things. So the expectation for something to have happened in, you know, some of them brothers or sisters' time of the past, you know, that was a false expectation. They was only supposed to start the fire. You know, they weren't supposed to be the ones that kept it going. That's up to us to keep it, you know, kindled and keep that flame burning hot when it comes to getting our freedom, justice, and equality and getting our participation in this wealth. You know, you know, specifically if, you know, you're African descendant of slavery, you know that we was in slavery for hundreds of years. So it's going to take some time before we get back into position, especially while, you know, we still facing the opposition that we in today. You know, just being in America, we deal with different crises and financial crises and mental health crises and different deserts of broadband deserts and mental health issues and a lack of financial stability and so many different things that go on. So you got to be a bulletproof man and woman today to be able to deal with things, because, you know, if you ain't at your highest level, you go sink. Like, we at this point where not operating in your highest level is not even, it's not a luxury you can afford anymore. Like, nobody can afford to try to relax and you know, just hope things will go work out. Hope is a false promise. Hope is a false narrative sold to us, you know, through a church atmosphere, but it's not a reality that, you know, we can ever convene and believe that we gonna get something by just hoping. Nah, like, they about to drop a new AI next week, ChatGPT 4. Man, you know, I'm trying to figure out what jobs gonna be left when the AI can do them all. What jobs gonna be left when a robot can do it all? You know, the generations that we dealing with today, I feel like the job is much harder than, you know, the saviors of the past. The job is much harder than the leaders of the past have, because we're dealing with the second tour date on Toronto already been added. Make sure you click the link in the bio. Same thing with the Bay Area. Click the link in the bio for tickets. But we dealing with a different type of, not even, the enemy is the same. The problem is our people have changed. This ain't the same young male and same female that's out there today. You know, the misguidance of the generations have gotten to an all-time high. Like, racism, man, nobody care about no racism. That's small potatoes into what we dealing with. You dealing with the mentalism. You dealing with the lack of having a proper attunement with your own mind. You understand me? To be able to control your own thoughts. That's what you're dealing with. Not even, we dealing with the lack of even having true belief systems anymore. People don't know what they believe anymore. You know, like, what we dealing with is a degenerate generation of lost causes, you know, trying to find themselves and believing in everything, which means they believe in nothing all at the same time. You know, so I feel like what we're faced with is much harder, because it's like, at first, leaders of the past could get the people to follow because everybody had a certain belief. They could point out the enemy. Now the enemy is your shadow self. Now the enemy is your beliefs. You know, so it's much harder to break these minds open, to get them to break their chains when they don't find nothing wrong with it for real. Getting you some money, that's not the hard part. You know, everybody gonna have to learn some digital skills, you know, and learn how to manage these digital skills in some sort of way, because I don't see no other way for you to make money. I see so many people trying to figure out what to do as if it's not a million opportunities out there. And that lets me know that's a mental health issue that you have. And unless you can get yourself straight, you gonna continue to have issues. You know, so like, We're not worried about the enemy on the outside. Like, that ain't, when they say it's a psychological war, it's got to a much worse point in time now. Like, we just trying to convince you that you a man and you a woman now, right? And that you have a mind and it works, and if you put it to work, then things will work out for you. It's simplistic formulas we're now trying to get you to understand. We can't even get to the in-depth discussions and discuss the art of strategy and the way of your mind. If you want to get into the master class of, let me teach you how to really strategize and use your mind at the highest level to execute and take over and get yourself to different dimensions, that's a different conversation. We just trying to convince you to now understand who you are at this point. Like, on the simplest level. They destroyed the simplest understandings that man took. Evolution of intellect took thousands of years to build up, to understand the construct of where man was no longer questioning his identity because he had a self-confidence to say, I'm a man, I go this way. You're a woman, you go that way. Hey, this is my nature, this is my construct. And now you don't even have that compass anymore. So now you're trying to figure out how to recreate a compass when, come on now, you're getting lost. So you can't really guide people in direction when you can't call them by their name and you can't call them based on their nature. So it's a different kind of reprogramming that we have to get to, because we have all the access today. We have the access to capital. It's there. We have the access to the internet. We have the access to networks and medias and education. And, that's not our fight anymore. Our fight is a fight to be ourselves and remember who we are, and a reconnection with ourselves. Right? The ancestral intelligence and understanding that ancestral intelligence. The war on the mind is so vast. It's very hard to navigate the matrix today, because you have to understand that it's like, if you watch the movie Matrix, there's different iterations of the Matrix. They say Neo, he wasn't the first to come like this. He but typically they say, Neo don't follow the path that he followed, right? I ain't the Neo of the past. In the movie, they said there was many Neos, but this one, he acting a little different. You ain't following the same path, because he learned to walk. He learned to have power inside it, and he learned to have power outside it. You understand me? And that made him dangerous to the whole entire system, right? And that's what you have to learn how to do. You have to learn how to have power inside it and outside it, and you can't allow it to overpower you. It's a different game that we got to play today. So nobody can afford to live at their lowest level. Nobody can afford to be living mid-level. Everybody has to conquer themselves to live at the highest level. This is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for your consciousness. We fighting for your consciousness at this point. We fighting for understanding of self. People say, my brother Vagabond King say AI gonna be the downfall of humanity. For people that, my family for sure went through bondage and slavery by men, not AI, by men. They were beat, they were raped, they were conquered and colonized, and they lost their name, their religion, their spirituality, their family. They were hung, they were subjugated less than 3/5 of a human being. You think with that in my blood of knowing what we conquered, that the thing that I feel like is going to destroy humanity is AI? Come on, man. Nah, that ain't nothing I fear. See, when you can go through all of that and still rise and be great, when you can go through all of that and still rise and be great, how we fear artificial things when the organic and natural intelligence of the human being means that we can convert anything that we go through and still conquer it. I ain't afraid of no goddamn AI. Man, you know what I've been through in life? All you need to have is great emotional and natural intelligence. And anything that comes can be used. Yes, it has an inherent use, a way the devil go use it. And it's the way God gonna use it. But it's just another thing like the internet. It's just another thing like the cell phone. It's another thing like social media. Was it made specifically to free us? I wouldn't say so. So I don't think that's humanity's downfall. That's not humanity's downfall. Humanity, has already been losing his own humanity. And that wasn't AI that did that. Human beings don't know how to treat each other. People don't know how to treat their own family. People have dysfunction in the family, and that's not AI's fault. AI didn't cause the dysfunction in the families. That's not AI. We always looking for a new enemy and a new devil to blame for our old problems. But I'm going to tell you something that's old as time, and older is our minds. And as long as you can conquer your own mind, nothing can conquer you. That's the main message. So we learn the tenets of the way of our minds. And when you learn the way of your mind, you have the ability to conquer all things. When you learn, tell you a key, when you learn the art of strategy, you can be anything you want to be, because then you have a strategy on how to master everything. So learning strategy is the warrior's secret to mastery. Because now he has a way that he steps into and approaches everything in life. So people understand being a thought leader is being a strategist. Much like a swordman. You understand me? Once you are a master, a swordsman or samurai, what you first learn to master is the fear of death, so that you can fully live. Because when you fear death, you're only going to go so far in life, because you feel if you get too close to doing too many things in life, you're going to die. So some things you automatically won't do. You won't think of, because fear grips you. Death becomes one of your gods. But when you become a strategist, you learn the way. Right? You learn the way. And when you learn the way of things, you can do all things, whether it's art, right? Design, speaking, teaching, engineering, coding, right? Architecture. You just have to step in. So, Keys, why do you do so many things? Because I know my ways. Once I know my way and I have a strategy on how I approach things and how I go to conquer things, then I can step into any arena, because it's doing the same thing at that point. You understand me? But when you are subjugated to a title and you believe you one thing, then you approach it from that standpoint. Oh, I can't do that. A person say, well, no, I'm just a cashier. Or, no, I'm just a coder. Or, no, I'm just a fitness person. I don't do that. Whoa, wait a minute. What was your approach to learning fitness? What was your approach to learning the skill set that you learn now? If you can take that same approach, if you can go reverse engineer what made you good in your field, what was the strategy, now you have a way to approach everything. So we have been limited through our perception of understanding that human beings cannot be multiple things. Yet in school, when we learn what we were learning, we learn in so many fields of study all at once. We got to learn science, we got to learn arts, we got to learn math, right? We got to do gym, we got to do all these things. And then we go out in the world, they say be one thing. But when you were in school, in elementary, in high school, in college, you have to learn all things at once. So what was the point of being taught to learn in a polymathic manner if I have to then go choose to be one thing? No, I'm a scientist. I'm an artist. I'm a fitness expert. I'm doing all these things. Now, if you don't learn the mastery, and that's the thing about strategy, is that strategy is an ever-improving evolution of a process, right? So, the strategy is a way when you learn how to properly go in and you learn the art of things, which is the art is the way of things, right? And so the way I approach everything is with that mindset. So therefore, if I think about how to change culture and society, if I'm thinking about how to put on a tour, if I'm thinking about how to run a family business, if I'm thinking about how to create the next product, All of these things, yes, they are interdisciplinary. And so there's not enough people that we look at that are multilingual, that are trilingual, that are multidisciplinary, that are Renaissance people. You understand me? Yeah. We see way too many things as one. Therefore, we can't even respect the different sides of ourselves. But as we go on this high-level tour, my thing is to teach people the way of their mind. Yeah, and I want you to leave. Thank you. I want you to leave because each tour date, I'm doing something different. I'm not doing the same thing over and over. I don't have one speech that I'm going to tour on, none of that. You know, we're doing a different lecture everywhere we go. You know, and this is going to be a legacy tour because this work that we going to put in is all going to be about, you know, teaching the world the way. You know, and I believe that once everything is said and done, I can leave empty, you know, knowing I did my part.